Hey, I'm going live, and now I am live. How you doing, folks? Good morning. Glad you're all gathered way ahead of me. You know what happened? I sat here and I was actually working on something for Mother's Day from the kids and I've been on it for about 2 hours. I've been sitting right here at my desk, just waiting for 9 o'clock to roll around, and I look at the clock and it's 10 minutes after. I get absorbed in the things I'm doing, so sorry about that. And running a little late. Let me get my coffee here, though. So sorry to make you all wait. Thank you for waiting. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me that you'd sit and wait for me to show up. So, what do we got going this morning? So, first of all, happy Mother's Day to everybody. And all of you who are mothers and those of you who are mothers. And so, welcome. Have a good day. I hope you will have today. Let's see, who all's here? We got Teresa, Chase Corrington. How can we work but not for outcomes? That's a good question. Maybe we can address that a little bit. Mike Yehudi! I don't want to go too loud because Mom, Rainey, is still sleeping upstairs. So she slept in. She's either watching cartoons up there with the little kids or she is still sleeping. Audrey, how you doing? Electra, good to see you. And let's see, who else we got? We got Chad and Susie Q and Matt Finn. And let's see, Rockin' Rhonda. How you doing? And what else? Who else we got here? I thought I saw Neil way early back. Yeah, there's Neil. I hope he's still here. You had a dead heat here in the last 2 days in Ireland, you say? Steph, good to see you. And Chase, you were actually the first one here. Good to see you. And Field Guy, I see you down there. So the regular family is in. Ron Frisbee, good to see you, brother. And just want to see if anything special is going on. You've been struggling with the paradoxical unity of duality, says Chase. Well, that is a struggle. It's a mouthful, too. What do you want to talk about that? Kenny, good to see you. Or Kenneth. Is it? It's Kenny Lefevre. Good to see you, brother. And so, who all, what do you got there, Chase? Chase, you were talking about some duality and paradoxical nature of unity of duality or something like that. What's on your mind today? Sean Bowden, good to see you. Good morning. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. And like I say, if you're not a mother, you're a mother. So happy Mother's Day. Good to be seen, Kenny. Good to be seen. Sorry I ran a little late this morning. That was my own doing, my own losing. I get into project work when I'm working on stuff here, and I phase out. If my wife ever says, that thing I told you about? And I'm like, no, you didn't tell me that. And she goes, yeah, you were sitting right there. That's because I'm absorbed in what I'm doing. I get that way, and that's just the way I am. And I've always been that way. So it's not a, what would you call that? Not attention deficit of any kind. Because my mind's not off in a million other places. It's focused on the one thing, and everything blots out for me. So that's what happened this morning. And like I say, I sat here for a couple of hours, and then I finally went and looked at the clock. I thought, I might go get another cup of coffee. And I look at it's 9:10. So sorry about that, folks. Absorbed in my own projects. And as a matter of fact, I got to go over here and make sure I saved my project. There we go. No, I did. All right. So what's on everybody's mind today? Let's see. Chase says, it's like the thought of peace versus progress. Like the Tao refers to doing nothing, but leaving nothing undone. Yeah, I can see the paradox and the duality you're talking about there. I don't think the Tao means don't do anything and leave nothing undone. I think I think that there's a how would I say this? Yeah, it's hard in a money-focused world, definitely. You need to make a living, but you need to not be materialistic. There's the paradox. You don't want to let money drive you, but if you don't operate to make money, you go under. You lose your mortgage on your house. And we look to other cultures and we go, well, how come they can do that and do this and they make it in mud huts? I suppose if we wanted to, we could live in a mud hut, but that's not our culture. That's not our society. We could, but Barbara says she hasn't seen her children in 11 years. Parent alienation. Not your favorite day. Sorry to hear about that, Barbara. If that's a product of divorce and bad mouthing and things like that, I get that. I understand that. I'll tell you what, and we'll get back to you, Chase, but my own son, my 19-year-old son, won't talk to his mom. Hasn't in 3 years. And my daughters keep in touch with her, but they don't talk much to her. And there's a reason for that. And on our end. So I'm sorry that might be a crappy day for you over there, Barbara, but you got friends here. So we're glad you're here. That doesn't undo anything. It just says, we're here. There's people here to talk to. There's stuff to do. So hopefully that's something that you can find a way to get some peace about. In lieu of solutions. Sometimes the solutions don't come, but we find peace. We have to. Maybe that's a dualistic thing as well. Maybe that's a paradox as well, is that we have to find peace in turmoil. And how do you do that? Maybe that's the Tao of being quiet but making noise, of not being materialistic but making a living, of all those different things that are paradoxes, it seems, against each other. Being a man of peace or a person of peace but having to wage war sometimes. That's a paradox. So, hey, Matt, good to see you. Looking forward to getting your merch. I'm looking forward to you getting it, seeing some pictures when you get it. What'd you get, by the way? Curious. I could go look it up, but since you're right there, I'll ask you. Let's see. Field guy says, Ron Frisbee, they leaked it, knowing no one would notice with the pandemic going on. The perfect cover. I'm wondering what you're talking about that they leaked. I've seen lots of stuff. What do you guys think of the conspiracy theories? We talked about conspiracy theories here a couple of weeks ago. What do you think about the whole, should we label them as conspiracy theories? All these different things that might be going on behind the scenes of the pandemic. It just seems like a lot is happening. A lot of things are going on. Soft disclosure, yeah. I just saw my first recruiting ad for the Space Force today. So that's interesting. It said something like, it was talking about, I don't know, it was again, incorporating paradox, since that seems to be our theme this morning, saying you live here on this planet, but you're looking outward, keeping an eye open. What does that mean? Why does our government start saying keep an eye open to space, to outer space? That's an interesting. Here, I've got it right here. Let's see if I can get the.
Some people look to the stars and ask, our job.
Listen to this. It's all the best I can do this morning. Listen.
Some people look to the stars and ask, what if? Our job is to have an answer. We have to imagine what will be imagined. Plan for what's possible, while it's still impossible. Maybe you weren't put here just to ask the questions. Maybe you were put here to be the answer. Maybe your purpose on this planet isn't on this planet.
Ooh, what do you think of that? Do you understand all of that? Maybe your purpose on this planet isn't this planet. What do you think they're getting at? Let's see. Who was just talking about that? Ron Frisbee. Makes sense that they released the UFO thing after they announced the Space Force. Yeah, it does. Corin, how you doing, brother? The camouflage for the Space Force, says Audrey. I don't think it's a big deal. It's just a uniform. It's the ground. Those are the ground forces. They're probably not going to put them up in green camis up in space. My guess is that that's for the people who are working on the ground. And that's where we all are right now. Not too much going on. Even the Air Force has camouflage, blues and blacks and things like that. So I'm not too thrown off by camouflage uniforms for the Space Force. So, so what did you think of that ad? Could you hear that ad? You heard that ad, I'm pretty sure, just now. It's a pretty good ad. What do you think of that? Sometimes your eyes are out there and you ask the questions, what if? So do we have a Space Force being put together for the what ifs of the universe? What if there's something out there? Yeah, I want to go to space too, Teresa. I don't think we're too old. I think we'll eventually get there, but probably not as a, as a uniformed officer. I don't know. I don't know if I get sick in space. I don't like riding in the back seat of a car. What am I going to be like in the back seat of a rocket? So, the North Pole. Yeah. I don't want to go to the North Pole. It's too cold. Just getting out of winter. Now, if the North Pole had sandy beaches and turquoise water, count me in, baby. So, and I've never been a warm weather person. It's just last couple of years, the cold is getting to me. Now I know why older people don't like cold. And I'm not elderly by any means, but I'm getting there, getting up there. I'm 60, be 60 this year, as you all know. And I'm starting to I'm cold. Yeah. Give me a shawl. Now, the shawl's not to indicate lack of movement. The shawl's to indicate lack of body heat. So, and I was always a hot kind of a guy, always sweating, I get overheated too quick. And now I'm always cold. So, what's with that? So, and, I've got enough energy. I got stuff going on. I'm not dead. I don't have one foot in the grave. But I think it's circulation. Circulation's not as good as it used to be. So I get colder. My fingers get cold. I'll be drawing or painting, and my fingers get cold. I'll be walking around the house barefoot, and my feet get cold. I used to not have that problem, but now I do. Let's see. The Navy vids are nothing new, says Neil. They were released back in 2017. My view is that we give them a blurry video, which could be anything and maybe they will shut up about disclosure. Maybe. I don't have a big problem with disclosure. If there's anything that's going on out there, and my son and I were just early this morning, we turned on something on the Learning Channel or Discovery or some off channel, and they were talking about the universe and how big it is and how it's estimated that in our Milky Way galaxy alone, there are over 1 billion stars like our sun that could sustain solar systems that have planets that could sustain life of one form or another. So there's 1 billion to a couple of billion of them in our solar system. Our galaxy alone, they estimate there's billions of galaxies out there. That's an exponentially large number for the potential of life out there. And it's a lot of real estate, if for nothing else. Now, of course, if you are a literalist Orthodox Christian or Jew or something, you might think that God has created that just to show how unique man is. Maybe God created the whole thing just for fun. Universe, billions of stars that could sustain billions of planets that could sustain life, but I'm only doing it on one little tiny dot in the universe because that's where I'm coming. That's where my son's going to come. That's where all of the universe matters, is all focused on that one little speck of blue out there. Us. Does that sound plausible? In a spiritual or a religious sense, that's what we used to believe. That's plausible. Yeah, God made the earth and the universe around it, but he did it the opposite. He said he created the universe and all that exists, and then life on this planet. It doesn't make sense. It's like they said in Carl Sagan's book Contact, which was made into the movie. If you've never seen it, by the way, go see it. Get it. Contact. Jodie Foster, Matthew McConaughey. Came out, God, almost 20 years ago. But you should watch that. And, if there's no other life out there, it's an awful lot of wasted space. But who was it made for? What was it made for? If it was created by an entity, a God, what was it for? If to not create life. What would it be like? I think that is a very interesting question. What would it be like to encounter life out there? Do you think that if there's life out there, would it follow like all the science fiction shows, Star Treks and Star Wars? They're all fairly humanoid. Stand up, upright, erect, have two legs, 2 feet, 2 arms, 2 hands, or any number of those. Face with eyes, nose, mouth, whatever. They could all fly ships. They could all figure out how to interpret each other's languages and talk to each other. So there's the question. Do you think life out there is like that? Is there... and if there's life out there, are there Bigfoots here? There's a big question. Everybody's like, I don't believe in Bigfoot. There's no Sasquatch. Man, there is life on Beta Reticuli. Is that so? Is there life out there? And is there, because we think that we know all there is to know about science? Well, that's a misnomer. We think that we figured certain things out. Speed of light. If it takes X number of light years to travel somewhere out in the galaxy or out in the universe, we're never going to be able to get anywhere substantial unless we find some technology that allows us to travel faster than light without distorting time. So, is there a way of bending space, which is what the warp drive is in Star Trek? Bending space. So if you could fold space or warp it and go, instead of travel the linear, you're traveling over the curve. You've bent it, you've warped yourself, and you're moving from here to here in less time. Does that work? Field Guy says, I tend to think about these things sometimes. Yeah, so do I. Let's see. I don't want to forget all the way back here. Chase had some stuff we were talking about on duality and paradoxes and things like that. I don't want to abandon that topic totally, but we kind of went off on a rabbit trail. So what do you think, Chase? What is your question about paradoxes? Let's see. Electra says, for every animal species on this planet, there's a humanoid version out there. Part animal, part human. Maybe so. Maybe so. How would you all feel if you knew, if we discovered, what if we always think of humans first. What if we become the product of first contact? What if somebody comes to us and makes contact? Hey, we're from a superior race, superior in technology anyway. And what if, and we've talked about this, we've mused about this on Rocky's show and other places. What if there is a federation of sorts already out there? And we're just the latecomers because we're the ones that are the late bloomers. We're not there yet. What if we were contacted by not just aliens? I would rather think that if there is an alien to us species out there, and they've developed the ability to travel great distances through outer space, would they be the only ones doing that? And they stumbled on Earth. Or might there be already a confederation of life forms out there that already have this ability? Do you think we're at the top of the curve, or are we at the bottom of the curve? Now, I don't mean there's this thing in the last decade or more that has to, people, we're the bane to the planet. No, we're not. Well, we're here too. We got some people that abuse things. Certainly, we don't always take care of stuff the way we should, but we're not the bane to the planet. We're part of creation too, if you will. So having said that, there's many times we get one or the other. We're either superior or we are the ones that cause ruin everywhere. No, I don't think that's true. I don't believe in that paradox, that paradigm that humans are bad and humans create problems. Human destroy planet. I'm sorry, the planet will survive us. Humans might destroy their own time on the planet, but they're never going to destroy the planet. So unless they create a Death Star and they blow it up. Let's see. The Big Love series you did was great explanation of my mind's focus. Always comes back to the fulfillment and purpose in vocation. There's that purpose, looking for purpose, looking for the moment, being in the now. And I haven't mentioned that a lot lately, but yeah, be awake, be aware, be in the now. I agree with that. Sometimes it's easy to forget that. We're in the now, but we don't think like we're in the now. Especially during, pandemic. Are we in the now anymore? Are we awake anymore? Are we aware anymore? I think being awake and aware, most people who are awake and aware and living in the now, pandemic's not going to scare you. And we don't really live lives being afraid. That doesn't mean I don't fear or have concerns about taking precautions so I don't get a virus, or, I don't want to go get hit by a bus. I don't want to get eaten by some carnivorous animal. I don't want to die some nasty death. All those things exist. But at the same time, living in the now, being awake and being aware that there's more going on here than just what we think or perceive. And so being awake and aware that you're awake and living now in the moment, that's our goal. Then none of this makes any difference. There's stuff that goes on. There are things that we can do to affect change. I'm not saying we don't do those, but there are also there's shit that goes on around us that it's like, calm yourself. Be aware, be awake, be in the now, shit happens. And we need to separate ourselves a bit from it. Not in an irresponsible way. Not in a way that isn't cognitive of our roles that we have to play in things, but in a way of, it's like I started out saying, the virus doesn't concern me. Now, if I caught it, would I be concerned? Yeah, I would. But overall, the whole big picture doesn't concern me. It's part of what's going on. We've had these things before. I don't want to die of it, so I'll take my precautions. Same with my family, my loved ones, you guys, I hope. But sometimes you have to extricate yourself from it, get outside the box of what's going on and live out here, not inside it. Let's see. What else you got going on over here? And anybody can throw in their thoughts on that. We've always assumed an ET, says Neil, would have to be superior to us in technology based on the speed of light. But if it's down to spatial dimensions, then not necessarily. Yeah, that could be so. And just because if they're technologically more advanced, does that mean they are emotionally more advanced? Or what's the word I'm looking for? In their thinking, that their thinking is more advanced, their perceptions are more advanced. Not necessarily. Can you be technologically advanced and be an emotional midget or a mental midget? Maybe. Hey, KT Emma, how you doing? I see somebody said hi to you, which means you've slipped in somewhere. Oh, Corin, I thought you said I was a geek philosopher. Thank you. So, I don't know. What do you all think? What do you all think of life out there? We don't think about it much, and we think it's kind of wacky to think about it. Well, I don't think it's so wacky to think about it. It was like, what did they think before we had circumnavigated the globe? They didn't even know there was another continent out there. And so people looking to the far horizons of the ocean, were they saying, there's no life out there. Just go off the edge and fall into Tartarus. Duh. And then they discover life. They discover that there are indigenous peoples on a big island out there, which ends up being a continent. Oh, and on the other side of that is how you get to China, going that way instead of that way. I mean, that was a revelation to people. Will it be a revelation to us when we finally stumble upon that discovery? Do we have the ability now to discover life out there? Not by flying there. We just don't have that technology yet. Does that make us ready to explore? This thing my son and I were watching this morning, they were talking about SETI and World SETI or something like that. It's called SETI World, where you can go on and be part of the network. Is that a way to discover life that's out there? So let's see, what else you got? Kenny Lefevre, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Ain't that the truth? You don't know the curve balls that are going to be there. You don't know it. God, I wish I'm jonesing for a cigarette right now. Wish I could smoke in my studio, but I can't. See, that's what I was going to do. When I was running late this morning and I'm working on my stuff, I looked up at the clock to say, I wonder how much time I have to have a smoke before the show. It's already 10 minutes late. I'm late. So I would love to just have, there was a day when I could have an ashtray and smoke in my studio. back when I met my wife, Rainey. And we both smoked at the time. So we've talked about this before. But those were the good old days when I could be sitting at my computer working or painting or something and have a smoke and stand back and look at my work and see what I'm doing. Now I got to go outside. So let's see. No smoking, I said up there, said Matt. Yeah, I know, Matt. I know. There's lots of things we do that aren't healthy for us. Mine is smoking 4 or 5 cigarettes a day. So, and it's genuine. That's all I do. Yesterday, I think I went outside 4 times for a smoke. Had a cigarette each time. Now, when I used to smoke a pack and a half a day, which would be 30 cigarettes a day, now I'm down to about 4 or 5. 6 on a bad day. So, that's a far cry. That's 1/5. I smoke at most 1/5 of what I used to. 20% of what I used to. I've cut back 80%. So, but every now and then, like, I don't really crave smoking. I just do it. I work. I have my own schedule. When I have a natural break, I get up and I go do it. Right now, for some reason, I'm just feeling like there's something about the air in here today. I'm talking and we're talking and and it feels like the perfect occasion to sit here and have a smoke, coffee and a smoke. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah, quitting smoking sucks. I've done it before. So, let's see. Electra says, I've seen mice things. You might be nice things. Shield beings, Thor beings, Hydra, half spider, half human, elemental types, insectoid. That's right. Electra, you were saying the other day that you've had some things happen to you. Since we still have to talk, I want to hear some of that stuff. Let's see. I'm just looking to see if there's anything over in my chat room over here. That's where I'm looking at it. Let's see. Social conversation. Yeah. Smoke weed, not cigarettes. I can't smoke weed when I have kids. I got kids around. I got to be responsible. I get goofy when I smoke weed. And goofy and tired. And so, trust me, I know my body, and I know that way. I know that about me. Too many times. So, hey, Paul from Newcastle. How you doing, brother? If the chocolates are from Rocky, yeah. I ain't eating no Rocky chocolates. It's just the whole concept, not concept, the idea of the thing of eating a butthole chocolate that came off of Rocky's mold. It's hard to know what to do sometimes, Corin says. I don't know if that's if you're commenting that on anything in particular here, but I think in general, you're probably right. It's hard to know what to do sometimes. Hard to know how to act. But again, be awake. Be aware. Be in the know. Should I quit smoking? I ask myself. Sure. All good things, all the best things. Should I stop smoking? Yeah. Should I eat right? Yeah. Should I be exercising more? Yes. Should I be having more sex? Definitely. But what is my response to everything that's good or bad for me out there? How much do we deny ourselves versus what's healthy, not healthy, and so on and so forth? Is eating some kind of mashy pulse of vegetable roots the thing that's going to keep us alive forever? So I never have potato chips or a bologna sandwich or stuffed turkey on Thanksgiving or those once a year types of things. The same thing with smoking, same thing with drinking. What's alcohol for anyway? What is the purpose of alcohol? Why do we drink it? Is it to do something good for our bodies? Now, I've heard that wine is good for your stomach. It's good for your system. Not whining, but or being a wino. It's not like drinking everything in sight when it comes to alcohol, but it's a little bit of it. It's good. A little bit of Guinness is good for you, I hear. A pint a day keeps the doctor away. Matt, I'm not trying to go overboard. I'm just trying to look at, or if you're talking to me, I'm just trying to balance out what do we do and what do we not do. There's lots of things that are bad for us, but what's good for us? There are certain things we can do that are good things that would maybe balance out having a smoke every now and then or a drink. Maybe not 30 cigarettes a day, but I'm not trying to be flippant here at all, Matt. Just talking about it. So alcohol's for drowning my sorrows. Yeah, you can drown your sorrows, Sean, with alcohol. The only problem is you wake up and the sorrows are still there, and then you got a headache on top of it. So champagne is good for you. Champagne. So let's see. Yeah, Mike Yehudi. That thing you said. Chase says, my friend once said I smoke because I subconsciously know I exist beyond this world. That's interesting. If I could right now, if I was on mobile instead of my huge desktop here, I'd walk outside and I'd have a smoke with y'all. Can't do that, can I? So it's all how you think when you smoke. Oxygen is always good. Yeah, I like oxygen. That works for me. And cold beer on a hot summer evening is good. But you know what? Mary J. Bell, I got to tell you, I like a cold beer on a hot summer evening. You know what else is good on a hot summer evening? Cold water. Cold Pepsi or Coke, whichever. So I'm right there with you, though. I like a cold beer. Now, I like my beers room temperature. When I drink Guinness, it's got to be room temperature. Bitters, a good stout ale of types, room temperature is better. The only beer I can drink cold is the kind of beer I don't like drinking. That's, beer I can see through and is yellowish. Not my thing. If you're a fantasist, fantasist, I don't mean sexually, but just away with the fairies, as my mother used to say about me, then reality is the enemy. Yeah, I can see that, Niall. I still call you Neil. Niall. So Newcastle Brown Ale. Yeah, true. Divine. There you go. Do they have Newcastle Brown Ale in Newcastle? Yeoman? So, it's Mother's Day. I have things I have to do. And so I'm going to make it a shorter day today. I don't like making a habit of that because I like going 2 and 3 hours. That would be nice, wouldn't it? And I don't think I'm going to do any readings today, frankly, because I got stuff to do, stuff with the family, stuff with my kids yet, and my wife, who's not awake yet, as far as I know. And trying to let her sleep in. My son Flynn actually fell asleep around 7 to 8 o'clock in the living room chair last night. And there he slept till about 4 this morning when he woke up. And so he must have needed it. Speaking of sleeping. So, Teresa, what did Teresa say? It's brown. Yeah, brown ale. So I've got some out there in the garage. So it's good to be grounded, Corin. Yes, it is. Long neck ice cold beers never broke my heart. Yeah, I can do with that. I don't like the light beers. I'm not a Miller Lite, Coors Light type of a drinker. I don't like that stuff. Maybe a pale ale will do now and then. Cold pale ale, it's got to be ice cold for me. I don't drink that stuff room temperature. Yeah, I'll spoil her as much as I can today. So, you know it. So, double IPAs are good, Steph. And make your significant other spoil you. Boom. I think she spoils me a lot, frankly. I think it's all the little things that add up. So, she's not one to... Rainey has always been somebody who has the heart of a person who wants to give and do. But especially after 3 kids, the giving and doing end has worn her down a bit. I think she wants to get and be done. But the idea there is that even when you're a giver, sometimes that wears down. And so we want to make sure that she knows how appreciated she is. My children don't quite get that yet. I keep trying to impose that on them. And I was just this morning trying to finish while she was still sleeping a pop-up card for her. And you can see, and I'm working on stuff on the computer that I'm going to print out. But here, you can even see, just took a piece of drawing paper and I folded it. And I got this piece that I'm going to be pasting things on. And I've cut out a little form here, and it's going to go in here so that when she, it's going to close up. And it's not attached, so it doesn't do anything right now. But when you open up the card, the thing pops up. See? And there's going to be little pictures of the kids and things on this. There's something I'm working on. That's what I was working on, and I lost track of the time. So, and she'll get that later today. So I'm going to finish that up. So we'll see what comes of that. And I did pictures rather than, doing an illustration takes a long time. Days, weeks. So I took photos of my children and I put them on different characters. Oversized, so you got the body and the big head, and did special effects on them on Photoshop. Going to print those all out and cut them out and paste them on this pop-up thing. And it's her own Rainey's private army fighting for her. So that kind of thing. So we'll see where it goes. And I don't know why that came up. Somebody said something. That's what I got to do. That's what I'm going to do with my time this morning yet, and finish that off when we're done here. And but that's why I was late this morning too. That's what I was working on. And I get involved in those projects. And so there's something on the computer. I wish I could show it to you. I can't. It's right there, but I can't show it to you because I'm in a different program here. So I can't share anything with you. But I'll take pictures later. There's something on my mind, Niall says. I got lots of stuff on my mind today, Niall. If I launched into things today, it would be hours worth of talking. That's where I wish we could all get together. Wouldn't that be a neat thing? If we could all, Rocky and I have talked about this, if we could all get together and have time together. That's what we did when I was doing the Paradigm Symposium. Once a year, we'd have, anywhere from 250 to 700 people, depending on the year that we had going. Invite guests and authors, and we'd have 4 days of conference. And, it could be spendy for some people. Coming up here, our tickets, we charged something like $350 for a big ticket. We had different levels of tickets. You could come and you could come into separate sessions, but we didn't sell those till the last week. But for the year prior, we had the bigger and biggest ticket, where you could get X number of things with each ticket, and each one was progressing on how much you got. So $350 is a lot of money for a ticket. But it was a ticket for 4 days, all inclusive. You'd still have to pay your airfare and your hotel. And we'd have people fly. That first year, we had people fly in from all around the world. We had almost 700 people. I think 705 was the official count on one of the nights. So, and we'd throw a big banquet with that, and we'd do all kinds of things. The big show. And Micah Hanks and I ran it the first few years together. And I said, this has got to work like clockwork. It's got to work like a radio show. Micah's big radio guy. I said, it's got to work like our shows. I don't want to, I hated going to conferences where I would see people fumbling around on the stage when there's supposed to be people speaking. They're trying to figure out how to make this work or that work. And I said, we've got to keep on schedule. I don't want people getting up there at the mic like I've seen at events where people go, okay, if everybody's coming in, we want to start soon for this session. And so come on in, everybody. I didn't want that. I had music that was over the loudspeakers, and Micah and I, we had handheld mics, and we'd stand in the back and outside the hall. And as when we're going to start on the minute, every time on the minute, I said, okay, let's go. Mic's on. And we go, I'd always say something like, after people were on a break, and I'd say, well, my children, are we all gathered back together? Let's go. And then Micah would say something, and we'd start walking up the separate aisles, the 2 different aisles, toward the front podium to introduce the next speaker, do a little shtick in between. We did that for 4 days. The energy was super high, and we kept that energy super high. So it was an event for people. They came, they paid money, they paid good money to be here, to see people. And the best part about the Paradigm Symposiums was we didn't just do the event speakers during the day. It was after, don't know where that came from, my head. After we were done for the day, which was usually, we ran up to dinner, supper time in the evening, and we were done. Maybe one of the 3 days we'd have something going on in the evening, Friday evening. But we always gathered in the hotel. We would always gather in the lobby. And I told the hotel, I said, I want us to be able to freely do this. And all the speakers, I told them, if I am going to pay you to be here to speak, I want you to be available to everybody all the time. Now, it doesn't mean you can't go take a nap or something if you need to, but in the evenings, I said, I want you to mingle. I don't want you to give your presentation and disappear. And now there were a couple of people. We had George Norrie that first year from coast to coast. We had to fly him in and out pretty quickly, but he was as available as he could be. He went out and mingled with everybody, even though we had to get him back fast for what he was doing, his schedule. But for the most part, when we had Eric Von Daniken that first year, Chariots of the Gods, Eric Von Daniken. One thing I noticed was he's an older man, but he was kind of quiet, but he'd go and he'd hang out. When he went out to have a smoke, he would go out and he'd say, I'm 77 years old. I drink my cocktails and I smoke my smokes. And he would go outside and he'd smoke. And he'd go and sit on the bench outside. And where everybody else smoked. He didn't need a private place to smoke. But people would come out and they would approach him. I could see kind of sheepishly. I was watching one day and young couple. Hi, Mr. Von Daniken. I just wanted to say hello and thank you. And he slides over on the bench and he pats the bench. He goes, you come, you sit down, we talk. And they sat down, they sat there and talked, and people would gather around. And so that is the kind of event we ran. And that's what I would like all of us to do. I would like to get something going. Rocky and I have been talking about, we're kicking around the football a little bit, where we would do it, how we would do it, what we would do. And you could go something a little more expensive. Go to England. We do it over in England. We be homebodies, and so you all have to come to us, and we'll get something prepared. We got places here. In about 40 minutes from the city, I've got a good friend of mine that owns a big place on the river and big event center and stuff. We go do it there. But all of this to say, there are things we can do. And I think we should try to do that. And I hope we're not all too afraid of the pandemic. Hopefully it's a falling levels of pandemic over the ensuing months. But everybody going to be traveling in the next 2 months. 2 months, it's July, folks. Middle of July already. So what are we going to be doing? We're going to be homebodies. We're going to be traveling. We're going to be going places. I want to take my family camping. We want to go camping out west of here and go out to the Custer battlefield or the Greasy Grass, the Little Bighorn, and see some of the sights, go through the Black Hills and see some of the fort sites out there. And it's funny. It seems like it's closer to us where we're located, north central United States, and it's over here in Wyoming. It's just over one state. We drove last year, almost exactly a year ago. I think it's a year ago today. It's my daughter's, one of my twin daughters' wedding anniversary today. And we drove down with the family. It was 950 miles from here to Charleston, South Carolina, where the wedding was. And we made a little vacation out of it. We stopped places all along the way, both to and from. And so yet I look at the map, and to go out there to Wyoming, almost identical number of miles, 950 miles to get over there. When it seems to us like it's right here because we're like the gateway to the West. And so it's just as many miles going that way. So we might do that. We might, it was a beautiful wedding. It really was. And so anyway, that's what we're thinking. We're thinking about it. Rocky and I will talk about it some more. We'll kick it around, see what's up. Maybe in the fall. The summer would be nicer because it'd be nice to sit around a campfire. It'd be nice to camp. How would you all like to come up here and go camping? Any of you not campers? I like a hotel room as well as anybody else the older I get. We used to camp all the time. We used to do military reenacting from the 1700s. And we'd live in little canvas troop tents. So, Osaka, I'll bet, Sterling. Fall is great in Osaka. Yeah, Neil, it'd be great to have you over here, too. So, Rock and Rhonda, waving. You waving or holding your hand up? Me, I'll come. So... Maybe we'll go squatching. Who knows? It all depends on what we can put together and how many days people could come out and how many days is worth doing. Do we do like a long weekend? When we did the Paradigm Symposium, We started on Thursdays, but it was Thursday late afternoon through Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, and to mid-afternoon on Sundays. If we do that kind of thing, there's probably things that could be done here. Going squatching, you gotta drive somewhere. You gotta go way out in the woods. You gotta go to remote locations. And there's campgrounds here that look remote but really aren't. You know, you're 5 minutes from civilization. So, Azatlan Burial Mound in the Rock Lake Pyramids in Lake Mills, Wisconsin. Yeah, Delaney, that's just a couple hours east of here. And Rocky and his wife have been to the park there. So it's interesting stuff. That might be a good place to go. So, yeah, I'd love an RV too, Kay. We've talked about that. Have you guys ever thought of doing something like this? It's like I say, life 20 years from now, you'll regret more of the things you didn't do than the things you did do. So cast away from the safe harbor. My wife and I said, rather than get another mortgage, why don't we put that money into a huge motor coach and step up from an RV? You know, the ones with the little garage in the back even. I don't know. But a big motor coach. And just go. Pull the kids out of school, homeschool them. I mean, we're doing that now. Homeschooling them now. On computers. What if we homeschooled the kids, got a motor coach, and just went and saw America, our own country? Go out east. I got the bug last summer again when we went down for the wedding, and we went to all the historical stuff down in South Carolina, and along the way back, saw the Serpent Mounds and all these places we stopped. You can do that with the kids. The way I work, the kind of work I do, writing, art. You think I couldn't pull up the camper for a day and get work done, and you pull pay into the account that way? And so your mortgage payment becomes your perhaps your RV payment. Well, I've seen people do it. I'd love to take an old bus and convert it over. I got a good friend now, Rachel Hoffman, on my Instagram, and she's also on my Facebook. You should see the things she's done to an old school bus. It's crazy. I would do that. I would do that and pull up stakes. What if you decided we're going to do this for a year as a family, maybe two? Would it get to the point where it would be the worst thing we ever did? Or would it be a great experience? My kids, would they miss out on having friends around to play with? Yeah, probably. A little bit. So you have to balance out what's good and what's bad. Do we make a web series out of it, our own family web thing, and you make it exciting that way for everybody? I don't know. So there's things we're thinking about it. Right now we've got so little space, it seems. We've got a 3-bedroom place and too much stuff. I like to say we're about as mobile as the state of Texas. It's all right, Texas, we're moving. Pack up. That's about us. We'd have to divest ourselves of a lot of belongings, maybe put some stuff in storage. I don't know. So you can put the kids in K-12 WIVA, Wisconsin Virtual Academy. Sure, we could. We could do that. We've talked about it. We've looked at that stuff. Tacitly. So, and, well, thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. Matt says, be proud of the family radio program brand you've created here, my brother. It's a beautiful thing that we've all found the sun in our collective universe. Well, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. And you know what? On that note, it's been exactly an hour since I came in late. And so I'm going to call it short today. I'm not going to do any readings today. Maybe I'll just do one, and it's not for anybody, just a general reading. Let's pull a card for today, for the rest of your day. How about that? Here we go. Let's do a card for today. Next week we'll get back into doing some more readings. But you shuffle up. And let's just pull a card for this Mother's Day before we all go. And I want to thank you all for being here. By the way, taking your time, come over and spend it with me. Talking about absolutely nothing worthwhile this morning. Just talking, which makes it worthwhile in general. So what about today? Today is supposed to be a day, by the way, astronomically, we're shifting today. And there's supposed to be good news over the next couple of days. I've heard this from several sources. Things are shifting. The whole pandemic thing is going to you're going to see shifts coming now for the positive, for building up. I don't do the astrology, but Sarah Soderlund, Jeff Harmon, some of these people have been saying this. So watch for some positive things coming up now. See what happens. And I'm going to just cut this deck. Let's draw a card for today. Let's see what it is. It's 10 of coins. The 10 of coins. Prosperity. Good things happening. Making things continue to be good things happening. 10 of coins is all about, of course, the coins we know all has to do with our material well-being. This card, the 10 of coins, I put it on the bottom or the top. 10 of coins. It's all about financial security, emotional well-being, positively indicated by the card. And it's only partially your own doing, as all these positive aspects are inextricably bound up in our close relationships with people, with friends, with family. It might foretell inheritance. Now, inheritance, getting something that someone has left to you. This is all about an unexpected solution to problems. Difficult financial problems that could be taken care of. Projects and ideas that you're currently working on are going to be of benefit to the future generations. It's a reward that's partially due to your efforts, but also due to your position with family, your position with the rest of life in the world. The 10 of Pentacles, coins, pentacles, same thing. All about the presence of stability, prosperity, overall good fortune, good things turning your way. And this could all be due to having the right kinds of relationships and friendships, having a tight-knit family or a tight-knit family of friends as a foundation. It's inheritance, it's discovery of treasure, it's unburied treasure. It's all these things could await us right now. So that's the card for today. How's that for a nice positive card for today? On a day, the 10th of May, when things are supposed to start astronomically turning away from this, whatever this situation we've been in for months now, we're getting out of that, is all I know and all I've heard 100 times. And so that's happening today. How about that? So Kenny Lefevre says, on this Mother's Day, I got the gift of family from Mom. There you go, Kenny. Can't beat that. All right, guys. So good morning to you all. have a happy Mother's Day. We're calling it kind of short today because we all got stuff to do. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for spending your time here. It means a lot to me. Rocky and I will work on a get together. We'll see what's going on. We're not just talking about that. We're talking about it. We're serious about it. We'll make something happen. And so all of you, have a great day. 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday this week for the Intrepid radio program, my show. And Rocky and I think we're going to be airing live this week at 11 a.m. Central Time, which is noon. Rocky will verify that, but I think that's what we're doing. All this week, he's off work. And then he starts his new schedule. I think we go back to 7 for semi-permanently anyway. 7 in the evening, Central Time. So all this week, 11 a.m. Central Time, catch Rocky and I on the Situation Room. So everybody, thanks for being here. You guys have a fun day. Love your moms. Love your wives. And we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks for being here. Bye. End stream. Boom. And I'm gone.